Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is episode 26 of Adeptus Podcastus, and joining me as always is Remleiz from 40k Theories.
Hello everyone.
And wait, where's Alexis?
With Duncan. He's thinning her paints.
Ah, right. Yes, Alexis is at Nova, which is going on at the moment, the time of recording. The date, by the way, for those who always seem to wonder, is the 1st of September. So Alexis is at Nova, so she is not going to be able to join us. However, we have secured probably adequate replacements. You've met them before. And joining us, as we've had in the past, is Snipe and Wib.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. I hope that we can be at least adequate.
Between the two of us, we can make at least almost an Alexis.
No. We can't even come close to the awesomeness that is Alexis.
I said that mainly to not annoy her, as opposed to demean you. Don't worry.
No, it's fine. I don't want to piss her off either.
No.
And don't worry, we're used to being demeaned. It's fine.
Dang, son.
God damn it, and we're off to a great start.
Hey, at least we're not talking about Robert Patrick's balls.
And now we are.
Well, okay, you know what? I've had some thoughts about Robert Patrick's balls. I am not going to derail it. I promised myself I wouldn't.
Not yet, at least, anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm going to give at least 15 minutes, and then I'm going to see what happens.
Right,
For context, we recorded another podcast earlier with Rem, and yeah, it was mostly balls. I'm sorry.
Well, since I've got a 15-minute timer before it all goes to hell, let's get started. In the news this week, because I never get tired of saying that sentence, we have, primarily, well, as I said, Nova is going on, and there's a lot of news coming out of Nova. The first thing is Necromunda is back. We knew Necromunda was back, but we've now had a closer look at the trailer and the models, which, I have to say, look pretty damn good.
Yes. Though some people have been complaining that the fact we've been getting Plastic Escher before Plastic Sisters of Battle.
Oh, shit, yeah.
This is a point. So yes, we've got two gangs confirmed, Escher and Goliath, with no mention of the other houses or gangs yet. For rules.
They're bound to come. And I reckon it'll end up being something like what they've done with Blood Bowl. Just have things like, like with the hired guns and special characters, they'll just release those on Forge World exclusively.
Maybe, yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you even get modular hairstyles.
Okay, I'm on board.
So yes, they haven't discussed the rules here, but I think it's pretty commonly thought that it's going to be playing like 8th edition does, which will be probably a good thing. It's got a very nice, pretty board if you haven't seen it, and blast templates are back.
Hooray!
Yes, blast templates are back. That's a surprise.
It is nice to see them back. I've missed them so far.
I can't decide whether I've missed them. My orcs have missed them like hell. But at the same time, my orcs are really glad that they're not there because they're not now getting bombed off the board. It's kind of a win-lose situation.
To be honest, my distaste for the loss of blast templates comes entirely from the fact that I still miss my looted wagons.
Oh, looted wagons, best thing.
My boom wagons were my pride and joy, and now
what tank did you loot for them?
I actually had a couple of land speeders.
Oh, nice.
That were the interesting thing that I had on the table, because they were the thing that when people would walk past it, they'd stop, come back and go, "Are those looted land speeders?" And I'd say yes, and they'd go, "Nice," and then walk off. That's how exciting my life is.
I looted a Vindicator one time. It wasn't very good, but I did loot a Vindicator.
I always like Vindicators, honestly, anyway, so...
And then,
I thought...
and then you get the people who do looted Carnifexes.
That is the most meta thing, and I always like those kind of smartasses.
Oh, well. So anything else to quickly note from Necromunda? Just quickly, apart from how brilliant everything looks, it looks like they're going to be able to... They've mentioned something about the Sector Mechanicus as well, so they're going to make it able to do multi-level stuff as well, which is good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it says here, as well as the Underhive style covered by the box set, there'll be ways to play it with the multi-level skirmishes that define the classic version. So, yay.
That's awesome.
Right, so going through Nova, we'll skip past the Age of Sigmar stuff for a minute. and get to Chapter Approved. Yes, we'll talk about Chapter Approved. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. So, Chapter Approved, which we believe is coming out, it's December, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So, an expansion for Apocalypse. Apocalypse is getting a dedicated expansion.
Nice.
Nice.
Guidelines on running invasion campaigns, so Planet Strike and Planetary Empires probably will be getting a bit of a look in.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, excellent.
In perhaps the best news for, personally, rebalancing points costs are being rebalanced for dozens of units and weapons across every army. Hopefully that means that some of the stupid things, like assassins, get a point hike, and some of the other opposite... Yeah, some of the terrible things, or things that just need a point drop somewhere,
like the Tau.
Get a point. Like Tau owl suits, get a point drop. No.
Sorry.
No, afraid not. And there's a bunch of new missions coming as well for all forms of play, so new tournament missions and new narrative missions, which is great because narrative's really, really good, but you kind of only got so much you can do if you want to follow the mission strictures. And they're also doing a new feature for open play. Designing and building your own vehicles is a feature that hasn't appeared in 40k since 5th edition. We're going to try out some new rules to allow you to design your very own Land Raider variants and field these behemoths on the battlefield of the 41st Millennium.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
That's really nice. So
that could either go really well or horrifyingly wrong.
Well, that's why for open play.
Yeah, so I was actually looking at some of the old chapter approves from the early 2000s, and they had the old like build your vehicle like charts and things, and it was, I'd never done it, but it's just there's a part of me that just really likes that idea of having that level of customization, and I want to see what people do with it. You know,
yeah,
I want to see someone do a Land Raider with legs.
Oh,
a leg raider.
In other better news, we got some codex.
yeah. It was dreadful and I hate you. I want a divorce.
Oh, dear. Whilst those do have a domestic, we got some interesting news on the codex front. So first off, if you're an Eldar, Tyranid or Imperial Guard player, rejoice. You're getting a codex by the end of November.
Unless you're a Dark Eldar player.
Is it Craftworld Eldar then?
It's purely Craftworld.
We also, I don't think we mentioned it last time, the Adeptus Mechanicus will have their codex by the end of September, which is lovely. Mm-hmm. But in Chapter Approved, if you are one of those factions who's still waiting, factions that have not yet received their codex will get some expanded rules while they wait, allowing them to make use of the cool new mechanics available in 40k. What exactly they mean by that, we don't know, but it does mean we're going to get more stuff, maybe like relics or new warlord traits, like a mini table for every army, which would be lovely.
They do seem to be like rolling this out pretty quickly, because I kind of assumed that some of these codexes, like, we were going to be waiting years and years for, like, honestly, even the amount that's been announced so far, I thought it was going to be like this time next year before we get that much.
Well, I think Age of Sigmar set that trend, which I do understand where you come from with that, but because there's so many like armies and the plot's already there, and they kind of want to fill it out. Maybe they just learned their lessons from AOS, which was such a slow release schedule that people lost interest, perhaps.
I think that's probably it, honestly, because they have been seemingly getting very, like, a lot better lately with this kind of stuff.
They're just being a bit more on the ball about stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of. It almost feels like they're paying attention. Don't want to jinx it.
Although, do you want to have bets how long it is before Sisters of Battle actually get a proper codex again?
14 years.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm with Rem on this. It's probably about 14 years.
And then, well, to be honest, Sisters getting a codex will come out when Imperial Agents get a codex, which is Inquisition, and there's Grey Knights in there, there's Death Watch in there, there's Assassins in there, so I don't think we'll wait too long for Imperial Agents. Sisters stand alone.
It could only be 7 years at the end of the day.
With the power of Assassins right now, they need a drastic rebalance, so, and Death Watch as well could probably do with some more options, so I think actually we'll get the Sister rules updated in the not-too-distant future. Sister models, don't want to jinx it.
One day.
What do you want? We've in the last 25 years we've had Celestine. What more do you want?
Oh, this is true. I guess we are all being very greedy people.
Yeah.
And then finally, some community news. Warhammer is rolling out a thing called Warhammer Heroes. This is a thing for hobbyists to nominate people they think is worthy of an accolade, to recognise people who've done something for the community. So they're going to be rewarded them with official recognition with a pretty badass-looking medal, with more information coming soon.
Oh, that sounds pretty rad, actually.
Yeah, and
to get the whole community spirit going. And
it looks really awesome. So it's the Imperial Aquila with the Sigmar hammer over the top. It's pretty badass.
That does sound pretty rad.
Huh. And finally, Citadel Paint has an app, so if you can't get enough Duncan in your life, then there's going to be...
Alexis can't at the moment.
God damn it.
I'm glad you said that. You know better than I do.
So yeah, there's a Citadel painting app in your coming for Apple and Google Play. Don't think it's got actually the video tutorials, but it does have painting by color, painting by miniature, and basing stuff, and an inventory so you can keep tabs of what you need. So there's a lot going on at Nova. I'll say that. There's a lot going on at Nova.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to check out the app.
Yeah. Is there anything else? That's still Age of Sigmar, because Blight War's a thing, and Blight War looks amazing, and I'm actually going to buy it.
I know there's that one model of a. I don't know
that one model.
No, because I don't know. I don't know fucking anything about Age of Sigmar, but
particular Slimux, potentially the first ever Nurgle demon, according to AOS canon.
Okay, I wasn't thinking that was the female. What they call the
Black Talon, the Zephyros assassin with the twin axes.
Yes, who looks fucking amazing and is actually a really good female model from Games Workshop, which I was kind of shocked by.
I got her rules came out, and a bit more of her fluff came out today. And suffice to say, yeah, she fits the army I'm going to be building, because, spoiler alert, I'm going to be building a Stormcast army using the Vanguard chambers, because, God, they're gorgeous. And,
Sigmarines. Yeah, the obligatory Sigmarine joke.
Yeah.
Yes, obligatory, but also a lot less correct than I used to believe.
I'm honestly tempted to buy her model just to maybe do like a one-off conversion to try and make her into a sister map or something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting Blight War probably 2 or 3 times to bulk out my Stormcast army, because, it's got like everything a Vanguard chamber needs. And I'm only going to want one Neve Black Talon. So if you want it, let me know.
I may take you up on that. Thank you.
If we don't get new sister models, we'll make our friggin' own.
You'll probably be waiting about 18 months, but,
Oh, that's fine. I'll maybe finish painting my half of Dark Imperium by then.
I maybe will have finished painting 2 of my half of Dark Imperium. God, I'm taking
I've painted more of your half of Dark Imperium
I know, and
than
you need
have.
to leave mine alone. Because they're way better painted than mine.
Oh, dear. And we also got a new Thousand Suns Legion Praetor from Forge World, and oh my god, he's gorgeous. Comes with a combi bolter and what will be treated as a power axe, one of the Kopesh blades, Scarab Helm. Looks bloody gorgeous, I'll be honest. In Terminator armor, yeah. I think I'm going to be getting one of those one day. How much is he? I haven't even finished. I still haven't finished my Burning of Prosper. Oh my god, he's 25 quid. Jesus Christ.
It's like, well, maybe I'm not getting that then.
Well, well, it's either that or I get the Praetor from Calth and then convert him, but no.
Yeah.
And the Calth one does not look converted.
What Praetor from Calth?
You know, the one with the chain fist.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of Prospero. My bad. And there's also those new Custodian Terminators.
Oh, yeah, the Aquilan
yeah.
Terminators, however you pronounce them.
With the bright orange combi bolters.
Yep, and we've got a proper look at their dropship, the Orion Assault dropship, whatever it's called, which is...
sorry, carry on. Never mind.
No, that was... I didn't really have anything to follow. It's better armoured than the Thunderhawk, apparently.
Well, of course it should be. It's the Emperor's personal bodyguards, and you know, the people that the Emperor actually likes. He's like, fuck the Space Marines, fuck the Primarchs. Now, that one Custodian, I like him. He makes a very nice cake.
But what cake?
Red velvet. He's the Emperor. He has to go for the royal cake.
That's so upper class. He should have a nice Victoria sponge.
I kind of second that.
No, that's what Malcolm has, the Victoria sponge, because he's old-fashioned.
You know, actually, that dropship, because I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but but the actual Forge World model for a Storm Eagle, not Storm Eagle, Stormbird,
Yeah.
An eagle's a bird.
Yeah, I've always thought that it doesn't look right to how I always read the description, because the description always made them out to sound not looking like a Thunderhawk, just bigger.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I always thought they were supposed to be much more elegant. That's close. This Orion assault dropship is closer in my head to what a Stormbird should look like to me, anyway.
Though, to be honest, I look at, and I think this is true actually of a couple of the custodian vehicles, there is a very Taoish look to it.
Oh, especially the back door.
The back door is exactly the same as the Devilfish kit, and it's got that slightly smoother edges to it, which is what the Tau vehicles have. And I think that's probably why the Storm Raven, the Storm Talon, the Storm Eagle, the Storm everything were all designed the same sort of way, because it kind of makes sense that the Astartes fleet, for want of a better word, was pretty universal.
Basically just boxes on sticks.
It's still better looking than the Sisters of Silence Charon. You know, the flying dildo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very special vehicle.
I think the first thing I saw that introduced, because I didn't see it on like the official announcement. I saw someone who'd drawn a comic of a Sister of Silence wearing one of those as a strap-on.
Oh my giddy aunt.
Yeah,
Prepared to be purged.
DeviantArt works very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, just be thankful it wasn't like one of those weird pictures you find on DeviantArt with like a pregnant Shrek and Shadow the Hedgehog with SpongeBob asking when's the baby due.
Okay, Rem, stay the hell away from my DeviantArt.
I don't even want to know. I'm just going to let you do this. I'll be right back.
He's going to go check DeviantArt, isn't he?
He's going to go subscribe to my DeviantArt. That's what he's doing right now. Oh, I've got an email. Hang on a sec. Tactica Imperialis is now following you. Oh, wow. On DeviantArt because he's a dirty boy.
It's got to a point now, because I signed up for DeviantArt in like 2005.
You didn't know any better.
To actually post my art. But it's got to a point now, I've seen so much weird shit on there that whenever I see someone just draw basic, straight up, honest to God Renamon porn, I get oddly nostalgic.
Why do you think I don't go on there anymore? It's the worst.
Yeah,
Although, to be fair, they have more Sisters of Silence with like strap-ons, and maybe I'll frequent DeviantArt a little bit more often.
To be fair, DeviantArt, I use DeviantArt as my art source for my lore videos, and if you can find it, there is some really, really good stuff on there.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. There are some outstanding
varied.
artists on there.
Yeah, there's more shit and Sonic the Hedgehog inflation porn.
Yeah.
You have to be quite specific with your keywords.
And even then, there can be horrors.
Do you want to know the funny thing? For many years, I resisted signing up for DeviantArt because I didn't think I was a good enough artist.
No, it's just you didn't do enough fetish art. You said, boy.
And then I actually looked at what was on there, not just what is the most popular in the last month or whatever. And it was like, oh.
My
I'm
life
not
is a lie.
Yeah. I think I'm probably all right to sign up for this, actually. Well, sorry, you were talking about that whole Warhammer 40,000 thing. You know,
I hear that's big with the kids nowadays. I'll check DeviantArt for it.
So this is what you get when you hastily invite a couple of people that don't know fucking anything about anything and don't have time to research what the fuck has been going on recently.
To be fair, literally, we checked the news 15 minutes before we spoke to you. We checked the news, so
yeah,
we weren't much better.
We've been checking it whilst you've been speaking to us.
It's like typing into Google, hurry, I need to know all of the news about 40k ever.
This is why Warhammer Community is one of my saved tabs.
Yeah.
Smart
Dang
man.
it. We need to save that.
It's definitely useful just for quickly diving over and checking things. This is normally the point where me and Alexis would have an 8th edition argument, isn't it?
Normally,
Okay,
yes.
Tau are bad.
That's not an argument, that's consensus.
That's consensus at this point.
Okay.
Okay, thematically, Tau are worthless and everyone hates them.
Also, Slanesh is bae.
Half of that statement, to be honest, the consensus is that Tao's society is terrible. And to be honest, I'm really hoping Chapter Approved expands on some stuff and gives maybe just the unit descriptors or the descriptions even. We get a little something
Dude, I was trying to engage you so that you could have some like podcast drama that can probably spin out another hour's worth of content.
Yeah, but the comments hate it.
How about this? The Tower Descendants of Robert Patrick's balls. There you go.
There we go.
The thing is, like, you think I say this when normally me and Alexis have an argument. The comments don't like it anymore. Like we spent 2 or 3 episodes being nice to each other. The comments are like, "Oh, this is great," and then we had an argument last time. They're like, "Why are you arguing again?"
Oh, God.
Mommy and Daddy are fighting.
I think like something different, because then that's all they'll want, even if it's not as good. Not that you guys being nice to each other isn't as good.
It's just scary and unusual, and we don't like it.
I don't like change.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to be playing 8th edition for the next... I'm not going to be playing anything for the next 3 months, because 2 days after this, I'm in 48 hours' time, I'm on a plane, so...
Going anywhere nice?
France for the year.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's the podcast disease.
Yeah, the third person on our podcast went to France halfway through. So.
And
This
then
is
he
like-
came back French.
He came back. To be fair, every picture he's sent of like himself to me, he's got like a stripy shirt on. But that sounds like really xenophobic, but no. Like, I've been sending him really bad dad jokes, and he's just been sending me videos of himself looking angry at the camera and shaking his head, and he's been just wearing stripy shirts and like drinking wine and eating baguettes.
He's not wearing a beret as well, is he?
I'm waiting for that picture. Waiting for
I don't know. I think it's like France is conveying all of its stereotype into this one British man that happens to live there now.
Yeah, they kind of focus it.
Well, I'm only going to be out there for 1 year because I'm doing a study year, and I plan that nothing will change as far as the people out there are concerned with the video. So lore will still go out, the podcast will still go out as normal. So hopefully nothing should change, and hopefully my accent doesn't change.
The next
Bonjour, everyone. I don't know. That's the extent of my French.
Okay.
Yeah, bonjour.
Yeah. I mean, I spent this morning translating insurance documents, which was so fun.
That sounds like the funnest.
Sounds like a special kind of hell.
Oops, hang on a minute.
You're still translating them. You forgot to stop.
No, I accidentally pulled the cable out of my headphones that my microphone's attached to, which is what happened there.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have a new mic today, but it's running late. Boo, Amazon. I placed an order on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday night. I ordered a mic, a camera, a shield, a stand, and an SD card, and all of it turned up today, apart from the bloody microphone, which isn't coming until Tuesday, at which time I'm not in the country.
Christ.
GG, Amazon.
I don't know. Is it just us, or is sorry, carry on.
No, it's fine. Carry on.
I was going to say, is it just like me, or has Amazon got really, really crap in the last 2 years?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't use them very often. I mean, I ordered 5 things. They said most of it should all be here between the 30th and the 1st. Okay, good. I'm leaving on the 3rd. No problem there. Sorry, we've had a problem with one of your items. It will be here on the 5th. I haven't really done much with Amazon. It's the second time I've ever ordered off Amazon, to be honest.
Okay.
Just like, if it could be any piece of kit that was late, it had to be that one. Like, I don't need the stand. I don't need the shield. I don't need the camera until I record battle reports at Christmas. And an SD card's dirt cheap. But it had to be the bloody microphone that was late.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's the most important thing. I mean, it's fine. It's so Amazon, though. Well,
at least then just chuck your box over the fence.
Yeah. We've had a lot of problem with them, just not delivering things for an extended period of time. We'll pay for the faster shipping, and then
they won't
just
ship until 4 days later.
And you're like, no, we paid for that extra thing for a reason. Because we had it was last year sometime, our graphics card just exploded one day, which was nice. And so we had to quickly order another one, and then it was we'll pay extra to get it delivered as quick as possible. And then it's it's just going to take over a week. And we did pay for this. I'm like, oh yeah.
So you did. Oh well.
And then as soon as I complained at them, they're like, oh yeah, it'll be there tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It's look, it was in your power the entire time, and you just didn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boo.
Oh well. I was going somewhere with that. I had a train of thought and I've lost it. Damn it.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I got distracted and then lost my own train of thought. Whoops, go me.
It's okay, blame Wib. He ruins everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he wrote the tower rules for this edition. Completely ruined everything.
My name is Matt Ward.
You spell it right then.
Your reaction to that between you made it sound like it was such an old joke that it's not even funny anymore.
Oh.
Well, it is. My name is legitimately Matthew Ward. Like,
I can't get away from this.
I've had so much shit online whenever people have found, especially art I've done, and go, "What? Like, why is it signed Matt Ward? Does this guy just really like Matt Ward or whatever? So he thinks that he owns Games Workshop?" It's like, no, that's legitimately my name, you fucking idiot. More than one person exists with that name.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. You can stop pulling your punches now. If you want to be really vindictive, you're allowed to.
I'm allowed to be vindictive. I've got someone sending me telling me they hoped I died on my birthday, well, because they thought I was that Matt Ward.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
the only reason they have a legitimate reason to think you the Matt Ward is if somehow you drew a picture of like a naked Rabute Gilman furiously masturbating.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be weird?
It's funny. I actually spoke to someone who used to play with Matt Ward.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
On Facebook a while back. Spoke to him. And yeah, apparently he's quite a nice guy. And he says he's ended up with some really rough things, have been sent to him and his family.
That's not okay.
And it's
I mean, I might not like what he did with a bunch of armies, but it's not really his fault. It's the fact that the company thought that he was qualified, which I don't think he was quite qualified.
Yeah, it's one thing being the internet's meme of the week, but sometimes we do push it a bit in this community. Sometimes when something, for want of a better word, starts trending, it just goes out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit. I guess I have a bit more of an insight because I gained a small fraction of the vitriol aimed at the guy. Of seeing like how just unnecessary it was. I have my problems with him as a writer certainly, but like, you know,
as a person,
that's
like, who knows? Who cares? But yeah, there's I think that's present in every community to a greater or lesser extent. It's weird to see the kind of mob mentality just kind of start foaming at the mouth. And go for someone. It's like I appreciate. We've all had that kind of something that we like has been changed, or we perceived it as someone coming in and ruining everything. But that's a bit extreme.
I think it's when you step back and you see these things as just being things created by people, and when you insult the person and not the thing, then it starts to go a bit far.
I'll complain about his work until the cows come home, but I'm not really going to complain about him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
You got too serious. We need to talk about Robert Patrick's balls to really.
God, it keeps coming back.
Right. Have you ever
they
seen
always
2?
come back.
Have you ever seen Terminator 2, Michael?
No.
Oh, mate, you're missing out. You get to see Robert Patrick's balls.
Right.
In all seriousness, it's an awesome film, though. In all seriousness,
I've heard good things about the Terminator movies. I just never got round to watching them.
The first two, yes. The last 3 are shite.
Yeah, they're really bad. The first one's really good, but it's very, very 80s, and the second one's phenomenal. And I would go as far as to say it's damn near timeless.
Yeah.
So and you get to see Robert Patrick's balls.
Well, I mean, we saw it at the cinema earlier this week, and it still holds up. So
yeah, I can hardly recommend that.
Fair play. I'll see what I can do about penciling it in. I mean,
that's a totally real note you're making right now.
Well, I'm writing it down. Ooh, look at me go!
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair,
learn Portuguese.
Italian. Come on.
God, Matt.
Portuguese.
But to be fair, I'm going to have a bit less to do because when I'm not working, I've literally my entire chest of drawers. I've emptied out my chest of drawers of clothes because they're all going in my suitcase, and it's just been filled up with hobby. So I've just got 4 drawers are just filled with boxes and frames, and it's kind of sad. And I'm just like, God damn it, because I've always taken my stuff with me to uni. It's like, I don't often play. I barely play at all when I'm at uni, but I like having it with me so I can paint, or I can just look at ideas, or just convert, or whatever, and then...
You just like to hold it.
It's a good reminder.
It's just put it up on display, if no else. And then just to say it's just been relegated to a chest of drawers, and that chest of drawers, I get the feeling my room's going to be quite drastically different when I come back at Christmas, so it might not even be there. But it's just... my hobby will still be there. God, if it's not there, then there'll be trouble. But
we will War 3.
Do you think you're too old to be playing with these toys now?
They're not toys!
I gave them to the charity shop. The nice lady said she could get £5 for them.
They're my income source.
See, even just saying that makes me so genuinely angry. It's like, that's not happened to, like, any of us. At least I don't think. And I'm like... Listen, I don't know who this mystery old lady is, but she better stay the fuck away from my miniatures.
Your Australian is showing through.
I can't help it. I'm just going to be sleeping, like, wrapped around my miniatures, while clutching a knife.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a spoon!
Yeah.
At least it's not as bad when Alexis is here and she mentions she's from New York and we have to get her to say, I'm walking here.
No, that's just you.
It's tradition. It's tradition.
Yeah, it is kind of a tradition, like, mention of New York.
The only thing that would be better if we can get Snipe to say crikey.
I'm not saying... I was literally about to say the word. I'm not saying word. Oh, sorry.
What word?
I'm not... Fuck off, mate.
Close enough.
God dang it.
Oh dear.
As long as no one's asked me to do anything with crustaceans and barbecues, I'm alright.
What about
I don't know what you and Wib get up to, but hey.
Are you shaming me? All my crustaceans and barbecues? My hobbies are very singular.
Remleiz, should we just move on to the questions before this completely degenerates?
I gave you 15 minutes, Michael. I did my very best, okay?
I take your point. You gave me my 15-20 minutes, and then it all went to hell.
Okay, so
I tried.
First question. Do you know Vulcan lives in our hearts?
Who?
Vulcan.
Michael and Salamanders.
I just want to hug Vulcan really tight. He seems like the nicest dude.
He'll crush you.
I'm okay with that. That sounds dodgy, but I don't care. Because Vulcan is best salamander daddy.
He is.
Okay, can a regiment of Imperial Guard avoid being fully exterminated by the Inquisition if they have a long history of the Imperium, even long history of service to the Imperium, and have close ties to a Space Marine chapter?
Depends on the chapter, I'd wager.
Because, let's say, for example, if it's like the Ultramarine Guard and the Ultramarines chapter.
I think the Ultramarines have got enough clout that they could probably say, no, we trust them. Maybe we trust it. It depends also on the circumstance, because the Inquisition being on a planet is not necessarily of all humans die. It's the presence of certain entities like demonic infestation or maybe a gene-stealer cult that would maybe necessitate regiments being put down.
Fair enough.
It does seem like the sort of thing that's very much a case-by-case basis.
Definitely case by case.
Given that there are millions of worlds within the Imperium, can a Forge world or two be secretly making new tech and new things that are huge improvements?
As long as they don't share them with anybody else, because then at that point it's common knowledge and that's techno-heresy, son.
No, not that techno-heresy.
Although, to be fair, there are some people doing R&D. What's their name? The Divisio Investigatus of the Titanica. They are genuinely doing R&D on new systems.
And the mentors are also testing out these weapons as well. Okay, firstly, I hope you guys are having a nice day before reading this question. I'm writing a fan fiction about you three being in a love triangle on a scale of 1 to 10. How upset are you at this? P.S. There will be Sundari and Magnus elements in it.
I want to be a beta reader.
Do they have a link to what they've got so far?
They do not. No.
Oh.
God. I no. Not I'll see.
You're practicing your French, that's good.
Sacre bleu.
Easy to say, dear God, no.
Indeed.
Gordon bleu. If the Sisters of Silence are made by psychics in the same way Custodians are, how does that work? Weren't they all nulls? Shouldn't psychic powers be useless?
We don't. Is it confirmed anywhere that the Sisters of Silence are the product of biomancy? Because we know the Custodians are borderline.
I need to read into that myself personally. I haven't actually looked into it.
Yeah, because when I did my research on the Sisters of Silence, we knew that they were modified and that they can have their powers improved, but how it's done is a complete mystery. Whereas the Custodians, it goes into a little bit the fact that it is beyond the surgery that goes on with the Astartes and is borderline biomancy, so it's not really stated.
If the Loyalist Primarchs were all in a band, what instruments would each play? Okay, well, Vulcan will be on the drums, just because he's got the hammer, so he likes to hit things. Ferrus Mass, because he's got the, those metal fingers, he'll be on the bass. So really dexterous fingers. I know he's not a Loyalist, but I would have Magnus Red on keyboards, just because he seems very
Guitar.
No, he'd be,
I don't know. I kind of see Magnus
he'd be doing prog rock, so because like the Crimson King and all that.
Honestly, I can just imagine him pressing like the samba button on the Casio keyboard and just kind of going and like dancing back and forth like a complete twat.
I don't know. I see Magnus as a hair metal lead singer. I think it's the big hair.
It's probably the big hair.
Lehman Russ would be on the guitar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd never see his face because he'd be headbanging all the fucking time.
Yeah.
What was it? I was going to go.
Would be the singer, I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
No, I could see Sanguinius with a bit of a little bit of extra flair on like the trumpets or the saxophone, just like with the crazy riffs.
On the saxophone with the gyrating.
Are we seriously saying that the Primarchs have a ska band? Because I'm behind
that
this
sounds
idea.
Amazing.
I think it's more going to be like Sanguinius is going to be epic sax guy.
I can't think of anybody else that would do it.
Yeah, the only one who would do it would be Fulgrim.
Actually, no, it would be Jagtai, wouldn't it? Because Jagtai is like the sort of wilder one who just like doesn't follow the script at all and just goes off and does whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's definitely on the hurdy-gurdy.
See, I was going to go for Dawn on the accordion.
Oh yeah.
I was going to put Dawn on like a tuba or something, just a bomb. Bomb. Just a really simple bass rhythm.
That would be amazing.
And then there's just Angron in the corner, seething with hate with a triangle. That's all they trust him with.
We'll just be doing the death metal screaming.
While playing the triangle.
And that's not even to do with the band at all. That's just him in the corner. He's just doing that.
He just like screaming. Gilliman.
He'd be on acoustic guitar.
Oh, he'd be on like the friggin' cello.
He'd be in a cafe around the corner playing his acoustic ballads to people.
He'd be playing like weird jazz. And then they came to me and I said...
I wrote a book.
I wrote a book. It's a very long book.
And Corks would be playing, just a drop D electric guitar, plus just playing basic metalcore. Just like chug, 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 chug.
This one is about
My life is darkness.
Are we doing like Dashboard confessional covers?
Yeah, you reckon?
Maybe a bit of Taking Back Sunday?
Ooh, fancy.
Whereas Lehman and Russ will be playing like I'm on, I'm off.
I am
maybe some enslaved
with the idea of like Primarch band. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're forwarding this to Alpha, right?
Yes.
I'm still waiting for him to take up my idea of doing the Iron Chef parody where Kitten has a cooking contest against Eldar and Ulthran.
Oh my god, dude, you should...
What?
I've already pitched this idea to him and he hasn't responded to it yet.
Why is he so afraid of progress?
And we have the little pillar studies, there's like the judges eating the food. And it's like, we can't eat this, we've got helmets on.
Just mash it through the hole. That's fine.
God damn it.
That was a good question.
Going, it was delicious.
I ate every yummy piece.
My tummy is very full.
I am nutritionally satisfied. Okay, question. Are the Red Corsairs relevant at all?
Yes.
Yeah. Abaddon gave them, a
Blackstone Fortress.
I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Black Crusades were launched for the purpose of stealing those things. Like, the entire Gothic War was launched just to get them. They're that powerful.
Yeah,
there's only one
to be
left.
satisfied.
It's alright.
There's only one left now, and Huron Blackheart's got it.
He's not done bad for himself, has he?
No, not at all. Okay, What's the difference between a Psyker and a Sorcerer? Psykers can naturally tap into the powers of warp, a Sorcerer has to make bargains with demons to do so. Essentially.
Yeah, raw talent versus ritual power. Loosely.
Okay.
Shit, I didn't even... I mean, I don't know much, but...
To be fair, I didn't quite know the distinction either. I now know it at this point.
Nice.
It's almost as if we're doing a podcast with two people who do a lot with, like, 40k lore.
It's almost as if we're doing a podcast with two people who actually know what they're fucking talking about.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to go, I agree.
Okay. Why did Games Workshop take away all our Dark Eldar characters? Because you touch yourself at night.
Because they didn't have models, disappointingly.
As Drupal Vec did. He had a model in 3rd edition. They
He
got
did.
rid of it.
With some really horrifically modelled female slaves.
Those with massive abs.
Yeah. They're really bad looking.
What, the abs or the ladies?
The whole thing.
Everything.
Oh.
And you had the Incubi in the trench coat as well. Those were cool.
Sounds like a flasher.
I've still got a couple of the old 3rd edition Incubi, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Keep meaning to paint those up. Because I actually collected Dark Eldar in 3rd edition. That was...
And
Oh,
the
honey.
Incubi
Yeah.
had like 2 poses, like spear back or spear forward.
Hey, come on, that's all the poses. You don't need any more than that.
What about
spear
spear?
up, spear up,
Side-
spear down,
side?
spear to side,
Ah,
yeah. Spear in
decadence.
2 hands, you know.
You're playing Dark Eldar. Decadence is your game.
Valid point.
That's a fair point. I can't argue with that, John.
Okay. If the Adeptus Mechanicus is capable of terraforming worlds and even making them flourish, why is Mars still such a desolate, nearly uninhabitable wasteland?
Aesthetic.
Because sacred?
Yeah, you can't touch it. Sacred Mars. Defining it as blasphemy.
Plus, I get the feeling that rather like Terra, most of it's just been taken over with forges and, well, in Terra's case, like cathedrals and administrative shit, and Mars forges like everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, that raises a just random point.
Sure.
At the minute, NASA are talking about making Mars an atmosphere. I won't go into the details because I don't know all the details. But you just have to wonder, like, what the heck, whether like they actually succeeded in doing that, or how they went about doing that in the 40k canon, and what the production
I
is
know
doing
this one.
to it. Oh, you know this one.
Yeah. You see, what they did was they found, like, they were, like, after they inhabited Mars, they were digging in the mines and they found this big alien machine, right? So the guy who, like, owned it refused all access to it, shut them down, shut down all the rumors about it, right? Then, like, he started charging all the inhabitants exorbitant amounts for air until one man, Dennis Quaid, came along, right? So he fought the bad guys. And he managed to turn the machine on, which actually melted
are you
all
just
this
quoting the plot of Total Recall?
I was going to say, because Dennis Quaid is a real person.
No, this is definitely
Total Recall.
what happened. No, it's not.
Thomas Aquinas.
Hauser and Melina, and because they've got mutants there, and they're all like, "Oh, don't get into the mutants; they're heretical or fucking whatever." So and it turns out like one of the mutants helps him.
Yes, but he also tied up a mutant with 3 tits.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I most liked about that is that for a little bit, you thought that she might not be bullshitting.
I gave it about 10 seconds, and I thought, right, yeah, maybe not. Because we know so little about the colonization of Mars. Like, literally, it's mentioned as the first planet colonized, and that was it. That's literally it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to have something to say.
I always kind of took it. It's one of those things that we'll probably never know because it's so far back in the human history of.
I kind of like that because then it makes it kind of leaves a lot of what's the term, postulating.
Yeah, like speculation.
Work and speculation kind of.
Yeah, because the 8th edition rulebook actually did clarify sort of a couple of things. Sort of like, we first discovered the warp in M18, and the navigator gene was either just before that or just after that. And it also gives a date, I think, for... I don't think you have a date for the Men of Iron. I forget right now. But it does have, like, there's a little timeline in the fluff section of the 40k rulebook, and it does ever so slightly just flesh out the Age of Terror and the Age of Technology, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Just enough to make you think.
But I still haven't officially said that Chainsaw Warrior is part of it yet, which annoys me.
I bet that was a fun thing when you were theorizing that. That was a fun little discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember playing well, I say recent. It was a couple of years ago when they did the game version of it, and I was trying to.
It was literally just a board game, but
yeah, I was trying to describe it to people, and the only thing I could come up with was it's like roguelike solitaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, solitaire is a roguelike.
Yeah, I guess you could argue that.
Oh god, that hurts my head. I'll make it end.
But yeah, all the inclusion of stuff like the chaos cultists and that is really interesting because it's seeing like an early form of what they would like to do. It's sort of like the rogue trader of rogue trader almost.
The rogue trader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or rogue trader.
Question from Michael. Is Farsight's disobedience to the ethereal cast due to him just not being around them, the warp did it moment, or something that he just came to? If it was the first, would he fall into line the moment he got near one again, and if the latter, what would it take to make the rest of the Tau chimp out of the ethereals as well?
Okay, so as far as I remember, going back to the 7th edition Farsight Enclave's Codex, what happened was Arthas Moloch happened. Basically, they fought demons, and as they were and all the ethereals died during the expedition. They were killed. I think one of them was chopped in half by a bloodthirster, and other things. All the ethereals died, basically. And as they were evacuating, they basically told the entire crew, nobody turn around, because there was a warp rift opening up or closing or about to close. Yeah, that was it. He threw the talismans of Arthas Moloch off the Dawnblade into the portal to weaken the demons and seal the portal. As the tower were evacuating, everybody kept going, and Farsight looked round, and he saw into the portal. What he actually saw, we're not sure, but he saw something. He had his eyes opened in a way to the world beyond, to the warp in a way. And when that happened, he kind of came to a realization that the ethereals had not told them about this other universe, this place, whatever it was, and the knowledge of that would be so earth-shattering to the Tau Empire, it could rip it apart. He decided that the greatest danger to the Tau Empire was himself. So he put himself into self-imposed exile. He completely abandoned everything, and the Enclaves built themselves out of the remnants of what was left behind. And as for being around it there as well, Farsight's been back now. On Agralan, the second invasion of Agralan, the Farsight Enclaves attempted to bail the Empire out. And we don't know how close they got to the ethereals, but they were on the same planet, and Farsight led his warriors away before the ethereals could get their hands on them. So it's not a presence thing. Well, it might be a presence thing, but I believe it is a warp did it thing.
Ooh, well, all right then.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've done 2 hours of lore on Farsight. I know his story pretty damn well.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Dang.
Okay, question for me. Going off by both your xenobiology series and some information deposited by yours truly, which xeno species that you've covered would you like to see in reality? I would like a pet Gerinx, just because I like cats. And it's a cat that makes you smarter, so yes, I'll have one.
Don't you want like a Catachan Devil to just roam around your living room?
Or a squig.
I haven't done squigs yet, so I can't really say about that.
Oh, don't you want the Mimic Squig?
That would be awesome. Just a little weird-looking potato thing sitting on your shoulders saying, "Sorgadel."
Just the scream swears at people. I want a hair squig.
You get
Or a bagpipe squig.
Yeah. I just want all the useless little squigs.
Yeah.
The chewing gum squig.
Oh, yeah.
There's the paintbrush squig.
Yep. Which, honestly, you could just mix those up with hair squigs, and they're basically the same.
I do feel that when they were writing those old books, they just looked around the room that they were in and selected random items and went, that can be a squig.
We need a bookshelf squig.
Here is there's a clothes peg squig. Oh, yes.
There's a Spider-Man money box squig. Wait a minute.
Fine if there are purse squigs.
Yeah.
Squigs.
No, literally, they use them as purses because they digest anything over a very slow period.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah, fair enough.
Next question. Does the auxiliary Meridian still exist in the 41st millennium?
Who were they again? I know the name, and I know they were Mechanicum, but who were they again?
The question carries on with, I heard somewhere that the Fabricator General, possibly Kelbor Hal, had them wiped out, but they are referenced in the 7th edition Cult Mechanicus Codex.
Right, let me Google. Oh, sorry, not Google. The Auxilia Myrmidon.
Yep.
They are the siege engineers of the Mechanicus. And doesn't say they've been wiped out. It says they're often sent out at the behest of the Archmage Forge was accompanying explorators, and aiding capture of Xenos specimens. They are cybernetically reconstructed beyond engine sears. They've got various ranks, and this is all partly according to Dark Heresy, rather than to any of the Horus Heresy books. But as far as I'm aware, they still exist.
Okay.
They're all just having a big old picnic.
They're living on a farm.
Yes. They're going to
With your
France.
dog. Okay. Do the Chaos Gods take pleasure in what they do? And if so, does that mean Slaanesh has power over them?
Well, the gods do feel pleasure, because like Khorne can feel like amusement at, like, say, Tuska the Demon Killer, at least in the old canon, whether it's still true. Nurgle is obviously jovial as all flip. Whether that does anything to Slaanesh, I wouldn't want to speculate.
I would assume not, just because they're generally powered over by the thoughts and emotions of mortals rather than immortals.
Yeah, because
with like the thoughts of the warp crew, like, wouldn't that then, if their emotions create something, does that mean there'd be a warp of the warp?
The super warp.
It just keeps going on and on and on.
Warpception.
Yeah.
Oh god, too many warps.
Speaking of Khorne finding pleasure, I always found that one bit funny when Magnus got hit with the Axe Morkai, and it's like, surprise, there's actually a demon weapon, and then Khorne's like, ha ha, fuck you, Magnus.
I still find that an utterly ridiculous state of affairs. I still find that.
It was taken from a Chaos Champions, of course it's going to be a demon
Yeah,
weapon. Just like Minus Calgor's Gauntlets of Ultramar are going to be demon weapons, because they were taken from a Chaos Champion, and no one's been able to open them up to examine what's inside.
There's taken from a Chaos Champion, and there's forged by Khorne himself.
Yeah, demon weapon.
Demon weapon, like, the amount of forging that goes on in the Brass Citadel, or in Khorne's domain, is ridiculous. And that one just happened to be made by specifically Khorne. It feels a little bit Deus Ex Machina.
Probably, but still.
It's like Alexis never left.
In fairness, it may not have been literally forged by Khorne. It could have been forged by Khorne, as in the sense, like, he shoved the soul of a Bloodthirster into it.
Maybe, but it just, the way it reads comes across very Deus Ex Machina.
Yes, but no, it'd only be Deus Ex Machina if he came in being wielded by Cypher. Let's be honest. Okay. With the Adeptus Mechanicus rumoured to come next, is there any new units, ideas for any named character from the current lore?
Well, they are next. Well, actually, no, at the time of recording, Death Guard don't have their codex, so they're not technically next, but they're the next thing we're going to get any proper look at. I don't know. I don't really know. They could do with... what could they do with?
Maybe bring some of the Forge World models into the actual codex.
Yeah, because the problem the Mechanicus have got, I don't know whether it's going to be Codex Adeptus Mechanicus or Codex Cult Mechanicus, because they're two very different things. Because if it's a Codex Adeptus Mechanicus, where it combines with the Skitarii, that's not a bad all-round combination. It could just do with maybe a couple more fast units, and then it'd be set. Because the one thing that Mechanicus actually lack is, like, artillery. Like, of all their creations, they've got the Battle Automata, and they've got the Onaga Doom Crawlers. But they don't have, like, proper artillery or mega engines like, let's say, the Imperial Guard do. So maybe I could see them maybe having Mechanicus aligned knights in their codex. I think it'd be a bit of a stretch to add the Ordinatus weapons, but hey, you never know.
Okay. Why are so many 40k YouTubers British? Probably because 40k is British.
Yeah, the game was made in Nottingham in Britain. It's a very... very British game.
It appeals to a lot of British sensibilities, I hear. I mean, I'm only half British, which is why I have been drawn in.
If I look at my analytics,
most of my followers come from Norway, apparently.
My analytics is 37% US, 23% UK, and then it's Canada and Australia and Germany, actually.
Yeah, we get some of that with a lot of the sort of Scandinavian countries after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things of like this is where it was made, and it's a lot more. I don't know. Is it just where they're publicized over here? I think.
I think there's a certain thing of that. It's just very ingrained into sort of British culture, in that way that as you know, especially boys of a certain age in this country,
everyone has essentially played it.
You've either tried it, or you've looked at the prices and went no. And
yeah, I think it's one of those things that I say to people, like, I do YouTube, and they say, "Oh, what do you do? What's your channel?" I was like, "It's a Warhammer channel." Like, oh,
yeah,
that's
going now.
Yeah, I never go into any detail because I get the feeling I'm going to bore people to death or just scare them. But
you think that's bad? I had to explain to my, because we did a cameo in the one of the recent text-to-speech things. I had to explain to my mum what that was. Christ!
Oh God, you had to explain TTS to your mum?
Yes.
Oh God.
I don't think she got it.
No, God, that's oh God, I don't even know how I'd explain TTS. Yeah, actually,
it's
I found out.
Comedy show.
Yeah,
Sci-fi
I
comedy.
found out actually quite recently. My mom told me that my grandma told her that she'd been talking to either a really close, I think it's still a close family friend, or a slightly distant relative, that their kid now plays Warhammer, and I was like,
Oh.
wait, there's a member of my family might find or a really close friend of our family might find my channel.
Yeah.
That is a deep-seated terror of mine. I mean, like,
Oh shit, son.
I don't like Wib's parents, like, they know about our YouTube channel. I think his dad's seen a couple of videos, but his mum finding it is like, because she's like super prim and proper, like lady, like she doesn't like swearing, she doesn't get video games, and it's just oh dear.
I think that's ultimately a worry of anyone that has a YouTube channel, that one day the people in their life will find out what they're doing with their time.
I started mine while I'm still living at home and I'm not at uni, so my parents kind of didn't have a choice if they knew I was doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that would be really confusing, because all of a sudden I might run into them at like a family gathering. It's like, whoa, what? You're... Oh, of course, yeah. Oh God, that was such a weird conversation to have.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, and this opinion you had is garbage, and I can tell you it face to face, and you're like, oh.
The tiles suck.
It's like, yeah.
The problem is, I'm one of those people that it's really quite hard to challenge unless you're like someone who's really in the know. Because I've got a video from nearly a year ago now where I did about the Traitor Primarchs and the redemption of the Traitor Primarchs, and I called out Fulgrim, and I said Fulgrim is completely beyond redemption, and I'll tell you why, and I listed my reasons. And the amount of people in the comments would say, but Fulgrim was possessed after Istvan 5, that wasn't him. I was like, but there was a short story which, if you read it, tells you quite explicitly clearly that before Angel Exterminatus happens and he becomes a demon prince, he turned the tables on the demon and got his body back. Everything after that is on Fulgrim. Plus, how do you ascend to a demon prince without having your own body and soul under your own control? Explain that.
Well, I've done precisely no research, and I'm telling you that you're wrong.
I've read the 40k wiki.
Yeah.
Oh, the 40k wiki is the one that told me this exact story, so... no.
Oh, dang. Well, I think you're wrong, because Fulgrim's a pretty boy.
In my fan fiction.
In my fan fiction, where he teams up with Gazcool, and they
he
have,
got
like...
Man's pregnant.
Yeah, and then Robert Patrick comes forward in time to bring peace throughout the Imperium of Man with his radiant ball sack.
I like this cross-media thing we've got going on now. This is like a brand synergy.
It's good.
Robert Patrick's balls are like crossing boundaries now.
Yeah. All we need from Mr. P and Alexis' live stream next, and that would be glorious.
Oh, next time I'm just gonna get banned from her live stream because someone's going to go, Alexis, Robert Patrick's balls. She's just gonna banhammer me without even like thinking, which I probably deserve.
Yes.
Moving on to the next question.
Good idea.
Yeah.
What guard regiment would you like to see become the new standard model instead of the Cadians?
We discussed it when Necromunda was teased before Necromunda was a thing, and we said it might be Steel Legion with the plot where it is. Yeah. And honestly, I'd be all right with that.
I'd also be happy with Macabian Janissaries.
Those are some syllables you just said.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about the Janissaries. I've not really looked into them.
They got these really cool masks. They look awesome.
Okay, I'm on board.
Death mask type things.
I'm on board.
No, the
actually,
ones,
when I've mentioned earlier, I've been looking through some of the old chapter approved. I saw some of the really old ones before the Kriegs. The Krieg guys got their own models, and they were just using Steel Legion models, just painted differently, which I thought was just kind of fun.
That's not a terrible approximation, to be fair.
And there was the Elysian drop troops. They had those, and it was like, oh, here's a guide on how to make them from like metal Cadians and a shit ton of green stuff. It's like, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
Actually, very good sculpting. So I just got a blob that just goes.
Buy a 24-pack of Baby Bell and carve them out of cheese.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I'm looking
now it looks like Robert Patrick's balls.
Glimmering in the sun.
No, that's Chaos Spawn if it's anything.
Well, look, that's the thing. Robert Patrick's balls are incredibly malleable, so you can.
Okay, let's sandbag this now. I'm sorry.
This is going on my channel as well.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
My comparatively pure channel with the podcast is just no, it's gone. It's gone. My record is tied.
We now know this episode of the Adeptus Podcastus. It's episode 26, featuring Robert Patrick's balls.
Can't believe you got Robert Patrick's balls on. I'm so starstruck.
Next question.
Yes.
What are the odds that when they meet, Gilliman would punch Asterion Murloc in the face for all the shit his chapter's pulled?
That's Minotaur guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty damn high.
Yeah, considering that, if it's still the same Asterion Murloc, conspiracy theory alert.
Let me get my tin foil.
Because I've heard rumours that he's a custodian, which I don't think is the case.
No.
The only argument people are like, but he's got the Black Spear, which is like a custodian guardian spear. It's like, yeah, but Argyle Tal had a custodian spear, and he was a word bearer.
He did nick that, to be fair.
Even so.
Yeah, the story behind that is, I think some woman that he got quite close friends with was killed, and the two people that killed her, he killed them.
Yeah.
Which was an Astartes and a custodian. He took up their power sword and custodian spear as his weapons. Yeah. But that was that either just before or just after Galvor back?
I'm pretty sure he was fully Galvor backed at that point.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Hey, you actually mentioned something that's in a book I've actually read.
Woo!
Ew.
That was a great noise.
I love how Argyle Tal's death is the biggest cop-out I've ever seen.
I am Erebus and I am killed you.
No, but better. The prophecy about Argyle Tal's death, he will die in the shadow of great wings. Oh, he was stood under the Aquila of an Imperator Titan.
Yep.
Just fucking cop-out.
And then Khan's like, no, I actually like that guy.
That's the one guy I like.
And I love how Erebus's logic for killing Argyle Tal was, it will make Khan do what he's supposed to do. It will send Khan to full psycho mode. Nearly got him killed in the process, but...
Yep. Okay, next question. Why don't the traitor Primarchs just attack the Imperium at the same time?
Political intrigue.
Yeah.
That's a fair...
Also, because then Warhammer 40,000 would stop being a thing.
Is it possible that the Emperor is going senile after being preserved for so long? Not so much senile, he just lost all of his humanity.
Yeah, to be fair, what we've seen of him in Dark Imperium, he does seem to be still relatively, actually completely on the ball with it.
Okay, could Sanguinius be in a psychic coma? No.
No.
He dead. He dead,
He's
Jim.
very dead.
He dead.
Worse than that,
he
he's
Jim.
dead.
I still need to read Black Legion, but apparently there's a crystal Sanguinius that shows up. But he dead.
Yeah.
So your Crystal Sanguinius, it's like, oh yes, from Neo Tokyo, Neo Queen Sanguinius shows up.
Sanguinius Digivolve to Crystal Sanguinius.
Anja Sanguinius. Yeah. Oh god.
Okay, question for me. In your Fate of Captain Titus video, you said that guy who voices Cactus Sicarius in the quote by him is the same guy who voices him in TTS. Yes, he is. Would you consider asking him to redo the quote as the TTS version of Cactus Sicarius?
I think that's a valid question.
Maybe.
Make that a Patreon exclusive version of the video.
Okay. If the world of Remnant from, I assume that's meant to say Ruby, was rediscovered by the Imperium, would they be purged by the Imperium for the excessive use of witchcraft and or mutations, or would they let them join the Imperium and have the Huntsmen and Huntresses become elite Astra Militarum units due to their ability to fight demons? They would be purged because it's a world full of mutants and witches. It would be nuked.
Yeah, that's pretty much like how to get yourself killed in one fell swoop in the Warhammer 40,000 universe.
Purge it.
Nuke it from orbit is the only way to be sure.
Oh, somebody's streaming the Inquisitor game right now.
Is that Zoran?
No, it's Angry Joe.
Oh.
He's streaming
okay.
Tomato right now.
Oh my god, Angry Joe's actually doing something in regards to games for once? Fucking me. How long's it been since he's done a game? About 6 months?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But then again, he also said that Suicide Squad was a good movie, so can't really trust what he says.
Oh, Joe.
And then he said and he also said Alien Covenant was shit, and it's like, I think he got them a bit mixed up, Joe.
I haven't even seen that.
Alien Covenant,
I should see it.
It's not great, but it's not shit. But Suicide Squad is just shit.
It's not Suicide Squad shit.
Suicide Squad is fascinatingly bad.
That's probably Academy Award-winning movie, Suicide Squad. Because it somehow won an award.
Well, I'd say the only reason that movie deserves a pass is Captain Boomerang.
He is the best character in fiction.
He is the best character in fiction, and I love him.
I think they should just done what Culture suggested when Adam Blompier did a video saying how they should have written Suicide Squad. Because that was actually really well done. Anyway, next question.
Yeah.
Can an Inquisitor pilot a Knight Titan? Or are they restricted from using the Knight as their own arsenal?
They could probably requisition one, but not for their own use, I think.
Well, unless the pilot was made into an Inquisitor.
Yes, like an Inquisitor being trained to pilot a Knight and/or a Knight pilot becoming an Inquisitor, possible. A random Inquisitor being told, "Hey, I'm having your Knight, yoink," and piloting it is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
but to be fair,
it would allow it as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Inquisitor had enough. Well, actually, the Inquisitor has enough pull. If you get an Adeptus Terra aligned Knight, you just I need a Knight for this, yoink. You can do that as long as he brings the pilot.
Okay. Is there a chance the Emperor will hijack Tzeentch's plans to rebuild himself after Korn and Nurgle teamed up against him? What?
Korn and Nurgle did team up on Tzeentch back in the day. And
and then Tzeentch just picked Capcom down and said, okay, I broke my stuff, I'm weak now. Just as planned.
So basically they're saying, is the Emperor looking for the pieces of Tzeentch's staff to put himself back to power?
Essentially, yeah. I think.
No.
Okay. If legs are powered by tiny snotlings running on wheels, are Tau Battlesuit legs powered by Kroot running on big hamster wheels?
Oh, I hope so.
Okay. Will you guys have on someone who doesn't like 8th edition for a debate?
They're few and far between, actually.
Got to debate me on my YouTube channel.
1v1 me, noob.
D-dust.
But yeah, to be fair, this is an interesting point. It's like, you want someone who doesn't like 8th edition. There's not many people who are, like, 7th edition was pretty publicly bashed.
It was
6th edition was even more bashed. 8th edition is, for the most part...
It's the best edition since 4th.
It's pretty good.
It's gone over well. It has gone over well. People are enjoying it, and more people are playing it. So, you might want someone to take us on liking 8th, but while we've got our gripes with it, most people have gripes with it, but most people accept it's a decent system, and it's an improvement on what we had before. Because if you're an old player, now playing 8th. Either you hate it and you quit, or you like it and it's better, so even if you have your problems with it, it's still better than what you had before. If you're a new player and you hate it, you didn't start. If you're a new player and you like it, you're playing it and you like it. So there's not that many of them.
I think the other thing is... Sorry. I was just going to say, the other thing is, of course, that how can you debate someone on what you like? What you like is sort of a subjective thing anyway. Like you can have debates about about like balance and things like that can be seen as more objective, but which is more fun, which you enjoy playing. That's something which no one's opinion can sway your opinion. It's whatever you think. Yeah, it's like saying, "Oh, I'm going to debate you that ABBA are better than Madonna." I don't know.
And this actually, because Alexis isn't here, I can probably get away with this quickly. And talking about Sigmar, because I went back and I played Sigmar on Tuesday last week, and I do enjoy the system, but it's got a couple of not fatal but really annoying flaws. Like the way damage is calculated is an alternate take, fine. Flat wound rolls is a pain in the arse, and double turn is, for me at least, I hate double turn. But excuse me, God damn it, I'm going to cough again in a minute. I tweeted out saying I've got a couple of issues with it, primarily double turn, and someone tweeted back at me and said, yeah, but this. And it was like, I get you, and it's good to have those debates about whether, because 40k and AOS now are so similar, and I'm sure at some point either I or one of my other partners on the channel will be making a 40k 8th edition AOS sort of, not versus, but comparison video, because it is a really interesting debate to have now, of which approach maybe is not better, but is... both are equally fine. It's just a different way of doing it now.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a two-part question, a serious and a less serious question. The serious question is, I've been trying to figure out which Chaos Gods would be associated with each of the 7 deadly sins from Catholicism, and so far, all except Wrath have easily been Slanesh, but there's one I'm not quite so sure about, Sloth. The closest I can think of is maybe Nurgle, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
Gluttony and Sloth could both go to Nurgle, because Nurgle's both decay and renewal. So the slow, steady decay is, and letting nature take its course, that would come with Sloth. So I could put that one to Nurgle. And Gluttony... That
could also go to Slanesh, though, because Slanesh is about excess.
It's a bit of both. What are the other ones? Because I'm not a Catholic, I've never really...
Wrath,
Gluttony,
Avarice...
Gluttony, Greed, Lust... Jealousy one?
I think so.
And Sloth.
Yeah, you can tell we're not religious folk.
We all know is that Malice is the greatest Chaos God.
Yeah, literally. The most legit, actually canon Chaos God.
Yeah.
Lust, Gluttony, Greed, Sloth, Wrath, Envy, and Pride.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Well, Pride
didn't just Google that.
Pride could slightly go to Khorne, depending on Khorne's lore seems to vary, doesn't it? Because I've heard
changes depending upon the author. It seems sometimes it's kill, sometimes it's about martial pride and honor.
So it seems to vary quite a lot.
Yeah.
But you could probably make either work.
Okay, and the less serious question: are STDs Nurgle's way of ruining Slanesh's fun, or a cooperative effort?
I wouldn't think it'd be cooperative.
It's their collab.
Oh, it's their
crossover. The thing that a lot of people seem to misinterpret is that Slaanesh is not a god of sex. It's a god of hedonism and excess, which, while it does encompass sex, does not mean it's sex exclusively. So STDs will be purely Nurgle territory.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
Old Papa Nurgle trying to rod off your Johnson.
Okay.
Sorry.
Have you guys read the comic Wolf and Sister?
No.
Yes.
By a guy called Nacho Man, I think he goes by. I'm not sure his actual name. Nacho Man.
Nacho Man.
Yeah, about to say.
Does he go like, "Oh yeah"?
I'm afraid not. No, it's. I seem to remember it being all right. I think he did more after I stopped reading it, but yeah.
Our style was good. The story was pretty good.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Chagora getting up to in the 42nd Millennium? No idea as far as yet.
Yeah, because the only thing I know Chagorek does is protect the Harlequin souls when they die. I don't really know any more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Can a pure-blood demon, as in a not demon prince, rank up in the service of their patron god to evolve? Could a Herald of Tzeentch, for example, gain enough favour to be elevated into a Lord of Change? Kugaf's origin story, Nurgle found from Nurgle shoulder into the pot the god was mixing his most virulent plagues and got bigger and bigger until reaching great unclean levels by drinking whatever things Nurgle was preparing. Seems to suggest that this thing is a possibility, but this only seems to be the only instance. Well, if that can happen to Kugaf, I can imagine it potentially happening, but then again, that would mean that Skulltaker would have become a bloodthirster by now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually, while we're talking about Kugaf, we talked about it you brought it up in Alexis' stream, didn't you, when the three of us were on, the whole pecking order with Nurgle. Didn't you say something like Kugaf made Mortarion?
No,
or did somebody tell me that?
I said Kugaf was higher up the rank than Mortarion.
Oh, right, sorry, I got the wrong end of I misinterpreted something there.
The chain of command is like, it's Nurgle, then Typhus, then Kugaf, then Mortarion.
Yeah,
Mortarion's
that's about
looking
right.
like, damn, my first captain outranks me now. I hate you all. I'm going to go torment my Xenos father's soul now. Okay, does Remleiz know dinosaurs preceded birds? Dinosaurs are birds.
Yeah.
They're from the Plesiosaurus.
Dinosaurs are the shit, just like birds.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why do many think the Primaris Marines will betray the Imperium? Salt.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
that is unnervingly true.
Yeah.
To be blunt, that's probably the majority of why people think they'll do it, because from the fiction I have read, like for example in the Dark Imperium novel, the Primaris Marines are seemingly loyal to the Imperium, and strangely enough as well, to the Imperial truth. Kill them for teaching the Imperial truth.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Space Marines kind of do have a sort of half Imperial truth anyway, because they don't follow the Imperial cult, and it's sort of like they sort of follow, apart from notable exceptions, they follow a form of the Imperial truth as a deference to the Emperor. So then following the pure Imperial truth makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, there'll probably be, a couple of Primaris Marines that might turn against the Imperium, but that'd be no more different from having regular Marines turn against the Imperium.
Yeah, but what's interesting is when we say salt, it's not just Chaos players salt, it's literally everybody salt.
Fandom salt.
Yeah, it's fandom salt as opposed to Chaos salt.
And certain videos put up by certain channels. Okay, if Comrade Kurz is the name the Emperor gave Nighthaunter, and given that he is his son, does that make Kurz the Emperor's surname? Probably not.
Nah, I don't think so.
Extremely... It's a fun idea, but highly unlikely.
His last name is Emperor, his first name is The.
Actually his name is George.
Okay.
I saw a very...
Because he's Sir George, because he's slaying the dragon, because that's actually canon that the dragon he slew was actually the Void Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the point of Horus Lupercal, who was almost assumedly named by the Emperor, so yeah, sorry, kind of breaks the plan there.
I read a long thread once, I believe, on Tactica, where someone mentioned that his name was Liam Prowler.
Oh, fuck off.
What?
Right,
they just went,
Liam.
Liam Prowler.
It was just over time, keep saying it over and over again. You get a bit of a Hodor situation. It eventually becomes the Emperor, and this was like 2 pages long of explaining this to get to that really bad joke. Yeah. And I'm glad I've saved anyone that might stumble upon that from actually reading the rest of it. It's not worth it.
Honestly, I'm glad they committed, but I wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I like to think that all of the Primarchs are the Emperor's OCs.
Okay. Why can't the Necrons build more Necrons? Do they need souls? I mean, their weapons warp reality. Coding AI shouldn't be as easy as triggering Alexis.
They're not AI.
No, they're not.
They're not. Well, they're not really sentient either, though.
Well, the Lords are.
Yeah, but
it's complicated.
It's fucking complicated. Basically, they're out of Necron tier.
Unless the Tau themselves are the evolution of any surviving Necron-tier colonists. Or whatever. Okay. When's Michael going to be on TTS?
When Alpha tells me to.
You probably have to audition.
Yeah, I'm. If Alpha wants us on board or wants to, or has a role that advertises a role and I hear about it, by all means. But I'm not going to go out of my way for it because, well, I'm not going to go and pester him about it anyway.
Okay. We know that the warp is a limitless talk, but are there any places that are completely calm, due it to be a reflection of galaxies devoid of any life and emotions due to that same trait? Basically, are there any calm spots in the warp?
Yeah, there are like
There's Decadian Gate for one. That was a calm spot in warp space.
And I think sometimes I think what's the one I'm thinking of? Ships can get sort of, for want of a better word, stranded at like lulls in the warp.
Yeah.
I think one of them is like the incident with actually the ascension of Mortarion and the corruption of the Death Guard. Because they were brought to like where the warp was calm, and then Nurgle could get at them.
It's sort of like the spacefaring equivalent of when you'd get the calm when you're on an old ship.
Yeah.
You just can't move.
And then the Kraken would come up and turn you into a plague marine.
We might be mixing the stories up a bit there.
No,
but
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
much.
that's the way it goes.
And then Moby Dick comes out, because Void Whales.
Yeah.
Okay. The Emperor was the greatest psychic humanity ever had, so why at the Council of Nicaea was this never mentioned to help Magnus? Did he hide that he was a psychic to anti-psychers like Mortarion? I don't think the Emperor hid the fact he was a psychic, did he?
I don't remember him stating it explicitly either, though.
I feel
From
it was
what
just
I remember,
like only I'm allowed to be psychic, and so's Malkador, because he's my BFF, and may or may not be my illegitimate son.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because like Mortarion found the Golden Throne, and Malkador had to tell him, look, we're doing it to cut people off from psychers. So it's one of those. I don't know.
I did do a comic many years ago that basically, with the whole Emperor's idea was, yeah, you know, you can do this whole psychic thing and you can do all this, but don't, because it's only cool when I do it. I think that's generally the vibe I always got from the Heresy novels. Is just, yeah, I'm basically not. I don't have to obey the same rules as you guys because I'm the Emperor and I don't give a fuck.
Well, from what Emperor, bitch.
Yeah, from what I dug up, it looked like maybe the Emperor's grand plan, the reason for the Webway project, was to eventually, if for want of a better word, starve the Chaos Gods by cutting them off from the warp, for cutting humanity off from the warp.
Yeah.
Send them to a fully psychic, basically turn them into the flipping Eldar.
Yeah.
Like a very powerful psychic race that just didn't use the warp because he didn't have a problem with psychers. I think that's an important distinction. Is psychers aren't the issue; it's the warp and psychers that's the issue.
Okay. Would the Mechanicum and Dark Mechanicum join forces if the Void Dragon were to awake on Mars?
No, the Dark Mechanicum would leave him to it, I suspect.
Well, considering the fact that the Void Dragon is the machine god.
Also that.
Do you think a 40k-based spin-off FPS/TPS game done in the Destiny 1 and 2 style would be interesting or possible to do well?
I have not played Destiny, but if it's a...
Destiny shit.
Oh.
It looked like... the idea of, like, waking up alone on this abandoned world and then being part of something bigger...
and then having this little machine voiced by Pete Dinklage not giving a shit going, that wizard came from the moon.
Yeah, but it's okay because then they'll do an update like a year later and they'll completely replace the shit voice lines.
Yeah, it's Nolan North now, I think.
Yeah, everything's Nolan North. I'm pretty sure I'm voiced by Nolan North.
No, you're voiced by
Either that or
Nathan
Troy
Fillion.
Baker. Yeah.
Yeah, one or two.
How likely...
I can see a game like that could totally work, but the problem is that it would require more money than anyone is willing to put into a 40k game these days.
Yeah.
Well, there's another question somewhere in, I think, this comments, not this comment thread, but these comments that sort of asks the question of doing it Mass Effect style.
I'd really like that, especially if you were playing like as an Inquisitor.
Yeah, that'd be what they did.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there was some talk of, I mean, a really low-scale shit version of that idea is the Eisenhorn Xenos game, which is shit.
It's dreadful.
And the game that, what was it called? Dark Imperium Online, that eventually became before it was cancelled, was getting close. It was more kind of Borderlandsy, but it was about doing little missions as an Inquisitor.
That would have been really cool. Design your own Inquisitor.
So that's actually probably quite close to Destiny, really, of doing little quests with a group of friends for gear, which is, a very similar kind of idea to what Destiny was. So that was going to be made, but then the plug got pulled rather suddenly because THQ was going out of business.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I've done a lot of research about Dark Imperium for a video that's never happened. I should probably do that one day.
Maybe. One day.
Yes.
How likely is it that, given current galactic situation, that it will birth a new human faction independent from the Imperium, one openly worshipping chaos, or maybe even one similar to the Interrex?
You mean Chaos Cultists?
I think they mean more in line with something like Ancient Cultists, where they were worshipping the Chaos Cultists, but they wasn't explicitly Chaos Cultists. It was like a full-blown society rather than just a whole bunch of disorganized. Pretty catchy for chaos monkey.
The problem is with the way the galaxy is. So everything in what I'm going to call the Light Imperium, for want of a better word, is absolutely going to be stuck in the Imperium's vice-like grip. Nothing is getting out of that. As soon as it was on the other side, well,
in the Dark Imperium.
Yeah, in the Dark Imperium, I get the feeling that Chaos has got probably too much of a bit too much of a stranglehold on that side of the galaxy, that a human faction couldn't survive without either flat out going full chaos or without being under the wardenship of the Space Marines, at which point Imperium. I don't think that the Dark Imperium, there's enough breathing space, for want of a better word, for a faction to survive. Also, there's not really much chance of a breakaway anymore because of the way that the entire Imperium's kind of structured. Because after the Age of Apostasy, the Ecclesiarchy completely splintered itself so that Cardinals only control one world, which is why the Plague of Unbelief happened. The first Plague of Unbelief happened was because Cardinals had too much control. So that's not going to happen if a rogue rogue Cardinal building an empire, because they only control one world. Rogue traders aren't going to do jack. Rogue Inquisitors aren't going to do jack. Planetary governors will need to be doing system-wide alliances, like sector-wide alliances, to pull anything off. I just don't see it.
We know that you can, quote-unquote, upgrade a newly normal created Space Marine to a Primaris. What happens in this case to the progenoid glands?
I don't know enough about Primaris progenoid, I'm afraid. I haven't really looked into it.
So when the progenoid glands are recovered, will they produce a normal Marine, or are they progenoid glands that are upgraded to Primaris glands?
Is it? I haven't got the Space Marine Codex to check like how different the two sets of progenoids are, because the progenoids basically over time develop into full gene seed. So yeah,
I would assume if given enough, if the guy was upgraded to Primaris and then killed soon after, I would assume just be standard progenoid because they haven't absorbed the DNA from the new organs,
new stuff.
But if it's one who's been in service for good year or two, or at least, then it probably would be a Primaris progenoid.
Yeah, because what does it take? 10 years for a full set of progenoids to develop?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, it's about 10 years. So give it another couple to let the new stuff settle in. And I think, I think that's a time-based question.
And what happens if you harvest it halfway? Do you get a Space Marine that just has one really long leg?
he has to go on the short bus.
I think what you do is you then implant it into what you do is you implant that progenoid into a new Primaris Marine and let it finish developing with them.
And then they after.
I guess that's a sensible answer to my stupid question.
I do try.
Which of the Chaos Gods is the most sociable? I would say Nurgle.
Nurgle.
Yeah, he's a super happy grandpa.
Good old Pappy Nurgle.
Yeah. It's like, would you like some tea? It's like, no thanks, why not? Because it's AIDS.
Bubbling AIDS.
Yeah.
Like, well, thank you.
It's like,
but no.
It's not AIDS, it's actually bubonic plague. Mixed with Ebola.
Potato patata.
He means well, bless him.
He does, and that's why it hurts to turn him down for his horrible pus scones.
Yeah.
Can Dark Eldar ever be redeemed? Yes, there can. There's been an instance of a Dark Eldar incubi joining a craft world and becoming a striking scorpion. So, yeah.
What? That's part of the incubi, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And there's only one book that could have happened, and that's part of the incubi.
Yeah. Could one of the Lost Primates be Carl the Deranged? No, because he's part of the Alpha Legion. Alpha with an F, not the PH.
Always have to specify that.
Yeah.
He's also a postman now, apparently. There's a manga being made by... Let's put it this way. It features myself, Zoran, and it's got Carl the Deranged as a postman.
Great.
That's fantastic.
Just because, you know, if you're going to have Carl, make him a postman. So, thanks, Scruffers. I look forward to seeing the rest of that. It's also got a servitor duck.
Oh, dear.
With wheels.
Oh.
And I just want to hug it.
That does sound pretty rad.
It's adorable. Warhammer Dynasty Warriors. Should it happen?
To be fair, a lot of people would complain that Dynasty Warriors shouldn't happen.
Well, if it was done in Warhammer Fantasy, that's the only way you really could do it, let's be honest.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think you could, if you were very, very careful with what you were playing as and against.
If you did in the style of Hyrule Warriors, because I added the whole fantasy element even more so than what Dynasty Warriors did, which claims to be historically accurate.
I fucking hope it is. That would be the coolest history in the world.
Somehow, I think not.
I mean, it's probably not, but I'd like to think maybe it's legit.
Yeah.
With Link and everyone.
I think we're talking about normal Dynasty Warriors here, not Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors is not historically accurate.
Actually, I think you'll find
How
it is.
do you know? Have you seen the history of Hyrule?
Yeah, Matt.
No. Wasn't that quite an expensive book?
Yeah, exactly.
Any excuse.
Okay,
He's
then.
ignorant.
If Comrade Kurz and Angron were interrogating a criminal, who'd be the good cop and who'd be the bad cop?
I think Angron would be this screaming and crying and not making sense cop. And then he'd eat him.
I'd really like to see Angron... Yeah.
He'd just start eating the guy.
I'd really like to see Angron trying to be a good cop and getting furious trying. That'd be hilarious.
Just like sweat pouring down through a forced smile. It's like,
coffee!
Do you want donuts? Eat the fucking donuts!
He's just bursting blood vessels in his face because he's trying to be nice.
I'll tell you what, the guy had fucking confessed.
I mean, Kurz would play the perfect sort of manipulative style good cop route. He's like, you'd better start talking, or I'm going to let you talk to him, and believe me...
And you'd have a lightning claw through the back of your skull, and you'll be flayed and decorated in the room.
And that's before I let him loose.
And you'll smash.
I kind of want to see that now. That sounds true.
With Kaldor Drago being not only able to survive in the warp, trapped by overcoming the Dark God's temptations, could it be down to the Soul Shard being passed down from the Grandmaster to Grandmaster, originating from Janus, that is shielding him from totally losing his mind?
What Soul Shard?
Well, because remember when Janus was created, it was Revilavdor being created with a shard of Magnus the Red.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course it was.
So
but that was the thing is the being that became Janus was neither Revilavdor nor a shard of Magnus. It was kind of... it was both and neither. So,
and
I kind of...
We all know that Kaldor Drago's got insane anyway. Have you seen my sword anywhere? It had to be done. Besides, we all know that Kaldor Drago is actually Billy.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Oh. What do you think of the 40k RPGs that have been made by Fantasy Flight?
Not played them, actually.
I like how in depth they actually go into certain aspects of the lore, like in regards to the lore of rogue traders and the Death Watch and stuff like that.
It's just making sure that I do really appreciate them for their lore. It's just sometimes you've got to think this may it's and everything is canon, not everything is true scenario. It's just trying to, when there's a canon conflict, filter out what is probably the truth.
You see, what we just need to try and infect the other members of our D&D group to actually like 40k, so that we can gradually actually have a go at one of these things.
Yeah.
I'd start with maybe one of the fantasy ones and work them up to 40k. So like maybe go with what's the fantasy one? What's the fantasy Tale of Tom?
Yeah.
No idea.
There was one. I know there was one. I remember it was on the board. Oh, I can't remember. Its name's gone out of my head. It was just like a board game, and you went round.
Talisman?
Talisman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Start with something like that, and then gradually work up to Dark Heresy.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any examples of other powerful warp entities other than the Chaos Gods and the Eldar Gods? Yes, there's the Orc Gods.
That's a start.
Yeah.
And if you want to count him, you've got Emps.
Yeah.
The Star Child, if you wish to believe that theory as well.
I guess would it be possible that a lot of the other races that were long since wiped out during things like the Great Crusade, that some of those could have had smaller warp entities as their gods that just got destroyed whenever they were eradicated?
Probably.
Yeah, that's
It seems logical to assume that, yeah.
Yeah, because I reckon that were probably dozens of Chaos Gods, and it just that that might actually be canon. There were loads of them, and then there's 4 rose to dominance and sort of consumed the others.
Yeah.
Sorry, 5.
Also,
I just want to see all the squat gods hanging out in there.
doing squats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doing squats all day.
The person who asked the question also points out there's one Grenadier by the name of Castellan Garen Crow who has the Blade of Antweir, which is possessed by a minor warp god. I don't think it's actually... I think it's just a warp entity rather than a warp god.
I don't believe that.
He also claims that he got the information from the Warhammer Wiki as opposed to Lexicanum.
Yeah. There's your problem.
I mean, this is an interesting debate because I was actually looking back through some old comments and I forget what it was. What was it? It was someone who was saying that they looked up something about power armor and Mark 9 power armor like being this, that, the other. And I said, okay, have you got a source on that? They said, the wiki. Like, what's their source? It's on Lexicanum too. I went to Lexicanum. It wasn't flipping there.
Mark 9 does not exist. I've had debates with people about this because people say, "Oh yeah, the Death Watch." No, the Death Watch is Mark 8. I'll even show that page in a codex where it shows the equipment of the Death Watch and it says Mark 8 armor because it's got
pointed it out when I did my video.
Gorget.
Yeah, I even pointed it out specifically when I was talking about when we were previewing the Primaris at the time. It's like, yeah, I don't know what happened to Mark 9. Some say it's Death Watch, but I've seen no evidence of it.
Yeah, it's like the whole Nurgle debacle because like both Lexicanum and the wiki say Nurgle's the oldest Chaos God, even though no codex or anything like that states that.
Yeah, because the oldest, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Yes, Khorne is. Actually,
so we got 2 books that both states that Khorne is the oldest.
Yeah, when I was doing my warp lore one, I did a lore video on the warp. I think I did state in that video that Khorne was the oldest. And I think my main reference source at the time was the 6th Ed Demon Codex.
Yeah.
It was the 5th or 6th Ed Demon Codex is what I was using as my reference at the time because that's what I was using just to dig up all the lore. So that was it in there that it was stated?
Because one that people do seem to frequently point out is what they've cited from the wiki is apparently from the 4th edition Demon Codex, which details Isha in the Garden of Nurgle. And it says on the wiki, it's like the oldest Chaos God wanted to teach the youngest Chaos God a lesson. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't actually say that in the Codex at all, though. It just says, Slaanesh claimed Isha as a prize, Isha screamed for help, Nurgle came to the rescue, beat the shit out of Slaanesh, and took her as his own. That's
Never
all
mind.
It doesn't say anything about the oldest or the youngest at all.
It sounds like someone's taking some artistic license with when they were writing the summary up.
Well, yeah, the funny thing is as well, someone pointed me towards a chapter called The Emperor's Wolves, who are not Space Wolves successors, but apparently they also used canine DNA with their gene seed, and it said down the wiki, and I'm trying to find... It's listed the source. I looked up the source, doesn't say a damn fucking thing. So it's like... The problem with the wiki itself is that a lot of people tend to add their own fanon to it.
That's
It's one of those things, and we can slam the wiki if we or point out the flaws the wiki's got, but Lexiconum's not perfect either.
No, but Lexicon at least attempts to source its stuff.
It attempts to, and I was actually looking at when I was looking into it. I actually checked on both pages just to see if I can make them tally with one another. I try and look at both and say, okay, if they tally, then either this is an extremely common urban myth, or it's the case.
Yeah.
Because actually, a really bad thing, well, not bad thing, but one thing Lexiconum did is it seems to confuse its timeline regarding Imperial Knights, of like how the Imperial Knights turned up. Because according to standard canon, the Imperial Knights were sent out with the initial colonization fleets of Mars to go and help colonize and protect. And then some say that the tech priests came, showed them the wonders of shit, and brought them back in, and the Knights were almost with the Mechanicum. And in another tale, no, it was a rogue trader found them first. And there's a lot of... And one of them's well-sourced, the other's like not so well-sourced, and it's like...
Basically, in regards to conflicting origin stories, if they both have a source and you both can find it in the respective books, but they contradict one another, then you generally go for the newer one, because that'll basically be the retcon in the older one. So if, say, the new Chaos Space Marine Codex stated flat out in there, Nurgle's the oldest Chaos God, that would retcon Khorne being the oldest one.
Yeah.
As, for example. But it's like a debate about living saints, because living saints, according to the book Blood of Martyrs, living saints, while common in the Adeptus Sororitas, are not always from the Adeptus Sororitas, however, they are always female.
Yeah, a good example would be Saint Sabbath.
Yeah, but then you get things like the Wiki and Lexicon stating things like Solon Macarius was a living saint. Like, no, he was an Imperial saint, he wasn't a living saint.
Yeah, he was posthumously made an Imperial saint, same with the Loyalist Primarchs.
Yeah.
And others. Have I got any others that I can find named, my living saints?
Saints about Saint Anais.
Anais, sorry, I always get picky about that name. Anais, because it's got the double dot on the I.
Anise.
Saint Anus, there we go, Saint Anus.
Saint Anus.
She wishes to rain her blessings upon you.
Oh,
sorry.
God.
Next question then, anyway. What is the best way to make a close combat Space Marine army? What chapter should I use? Probably Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Or Black Templars.
Yes, you should. No, Space Wolves.
they're the two get stuck in loyalist Space Marine armies, Black Templars and Space Wolves. Just
pretty much.
Do you want furries or do you want religious zealots?
Blood Angels also go face.
I mean, like, Space Wolves aren't furries or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with being a furry, but they're not furries. They're just, like, really cool Viking guys who just happen to think, like, wolves are the shit, which I kind of agree with.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear over wolf.
Also
Oh!
Come on, it's only fair. It's not the towel they're being dunked on now.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Pardon my salt, everything is true. Everything is fine.
Since Magnus, Araman, and X number of sorcerers, and presumably Zinch, were able to teleport the planet of sorcerers out of the Eye of Terror, could they in fact teleport Holy Terror into the Eye of Terror? Michael, all as dust.
If they got there and were not stopped, the theory holds water, honestly. But the thing is, there's a difference between sending a planet into the warp and out again.
There's also one factor as well you've got to take into account in regards to Terra. The Emperor.
Yeah,
most powerful psycho of the species.
Yeah. Can it be done? Yes. Will it be done? No. Oh, hell no. Because, quite frankly, the only way you get the power through is if the Emperor was dead, and at that point, well, the warp swallows the entire planet and probably half the system anyway.
Okay. Would a Banshee's howl affect a Tau being a psychic scream and all?
The Banshee's howl isn't psychic, is it? From the Banshee masks.
No, it's not. It's psychically resonated, but it's not a psychic howl specifically, I don't think.
Yeah. Also, Tau do still have a warp presence. You need to acknowledge this if you're not already.
Tau have souls, Tau have a warp presence. It's just an extremely minor warp presence. That being said, Tau that are married do have stronger warp presence, and Aetherius have an even stronger warp presence.
And that will also apply to Tau who undertake the Talisera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's their sort of equivalent.
Yeah, Tau marriage.
That is so interesting, and I really want to explore that. But no, but not in more plot. Need more information than just one book.
Speaking of towel plot, Alexis has got towel body pillows. I just thought it was worth bringing up because it's
good.
She has it all, man. I mean, damn.
She's got fan art of her and Magnus after all.
I haven't seen that, nor do I want to. So don't.
It's PG. It's just basically like Magnus with his armor.
I'm not looking. Sorry.
It's Magnus with his armor, and Alexis is saying, "Here's where I keep all my Alexis X Magnus fanfiction."
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
You think that's bad? Someone's drawn art of me and Conrad Kurz. So, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Sounds weird, but oddly gratifying.
Yeah, and then someone else drew a picture of me crying because Lotara Sam was being funded by Khan the Betrayer, and I was crying apparently.
Yes, I've seen that one.
Yes.
If it helps, I once got drawn with Bayonetta legs.
Actually, that's twice. I drew you as Bayonetta once.
Actually, yeah, you've done that as well. I forgot about that.
I haven't put that online because that was our private art.
You have to put that as the thumbnail for the next for the podcast I was on with you guys.
Oh god! And then just Photoshop in Robert Patrick's ball.
And we're back. Okay.
Full circle.
Next question. Do you think that the Adeptus Mechanicus have any correlation to Malau? After all, the colours of Malau are quartered black and white, the colour scheme of the Crux Mechanicus. No, it's a coincidence, let's be honest.
Total coincidence.
Yeah, but Malau's still super cool.
There is literally only so many colours that exist.
Question for the red Xeno-loving heretical scumbag. Will you do Alexis' intro?
No.
Remleiz. I've already done it, so... Question from Michael. Do you not like Korax because he's dull, or do you just have a hard time finding him?
I justified it in a video separately. I do find him just a little bit dull.
Okay.
You just don't know what he's been through.
When he got injured, he kept those wounds because he was crawling in his skin.
But now he's
those wounds, he would not let them heal.
Is Rough Rider spam a viable strategy for Imperial Guard?
Ask Alexis, probably not, because Imperial Guard just spam tanks.
Sanguinius on Vacation asks, if mankind died and the gods had to live off the beliefs of the Tau, would they change on a fundamental level?
They would more... yes, but also no. Because the fundamental emotions are the same. The exact composition of how they're generated might vary, but also the gods will then start influencing to make the Tau worship do it their way as well. You've got to bear that in mind. So, yes, maybe initially, but no in the long run.
Okay, besides las cannons, what are the best weapons to take with Space Marines?
In the old days, I'd tell you to take Grav, but nowadays I think rocket launchers are probably good. Multi-melters, even get up close, good anti-tank weapon, and good all-round weapon, to be fair. If you're looking for high rate of fire, the autocannon's a decent balance. I'm not an expert on Space Marines. I've barely played against them, and the army I was playing was Space Wolves. They're barely any heavy weapons.
Okay. What would be your reaction and thoughts for the following? Gilliman fights Abaddon before the last strike. The Chaos Gods open up a portal and send Abaddon back in time, alone, agonizing and unable to fulfill his ambitions. Abaddon finally gives in and accepts becoming a demon prince, but all the gods offer him his blessing and he ends up becoming Be'lakor. Sounds needlessly convoluted, so it probably doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
Okay.
That is a very pained no as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a level of Sanguinius returning pain.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think a chapter master or other named characters will be Primarisified?
Pedro Cantor might, because the Crimson Fists are pretty much entirely Primaris at this point. Beyond that, probably not.
Maybe the Space Wolves, considering they were pretty much decimated.
Yeah, but try telling Logan Grimnar, here, have some upgrades that are completely
Fuck
not
you.
yours. Yeah, basically.
Fuck you, I have beer to drink.
Digger knobs. Okay. Question for Commander Barfight. That'd be you, Michael.
Yeah, that's me.
That's a good name.
Have you ever eaten a pineapple before?
Not on its own, no.
I've eaten so many pineapples on their own. They're amazing. The skin is horrible. Don't ever eat that.
Speaking of pineapples, why the hate for pineapple on pizza? I put pineapple on ketchup. You're weird.
Okay, that's fucked up. you fucking sicken me. How dare you? Oh. So that's a nightmare. That's the worst. This is why humanity won't last to the 41st millennium.
No, it gets worse. Given how advanced the Eldar brain is, what would Eldar memes be like?
Oh god.
It'd be weird, like, cute Girinx videos.
I think it'd be a really elaborate, what is it, sea-punk. I don't know why.
See, the only thing I can think of is Dat Boy.
No, it'd be damn Diana Theft. Or something.
Yeah.
In the current lore, are more Primaris Marines being made over Standard Astartes?
As far as we're aware, I don't think a single Standard Astartes has been made in recent times.
No, I think it's just Primaris now being made.
Yeah, it's also just worth pointing out quickly, Guilliman will probably Thunder Warrior the Primaris if he gets his way. Just need to point that out.
Well, not necessarily, purely because that he made a Primaris one of the Tetrarchs.
They're a tool, a means to an end.
And not to mention that he's made entire chapters of them. They're tools, yeah, but I don't think Guilliman's going to be as callous as the Emperor and just go, right, done with them now, kill him.
Maybe not, but he's certainly not going to make...
He'll probably just stop production.
Yeah, I get the feeling that it will be a slow death for the Primaris Space Marines, because as far as I'm aware, he doesn't like them at all. As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it says they're blasphemous, but he still had one as his equerry.
I would kind of like it if they did something like, over time, certain defects in them started showing that are actually fairly major.
Well, if one of them could succumb to the flaw, that would be a good place to start.
Or they start liking, pineapple and ketchup.
Yeah.
Then they have to be purged.
Okay, Cato Sicarius versus Captain Titus. Who would win?
We don't really know.
It would be Titus.
Well, I mean, Titus did one-man army a Demon Legion, pretty much.
And an Orc Horde, and then he beat up an Orc Warlord, and he killed a Demon Prince.
He's kind of a big deal.
He did kind of one-man army, like, an entire planet.
Yeah.
Especially with how useless Sidonis and Leandros were.
Oh,
God damn, they were...
In fairness, Sergeant Sidonis was fine.
No, but I'm talking about mechanically.
Shit.
I'm not talking about plot-wise, I'm talking mechanically. In the game, I don't think I ever saw Leandros or Sidonis kill something.
Which was the young pup? I don't remember him.
Leandros was the dick, Sidonis was the old guy.
The one who
I like Sidonis.
Yeah, you can actually follow the Codex as well, considering that, if you suspect someone of being a heretic, you don't call the Inquisition, you call your chaplain.
Yeah.
You called the chaplains first, and he didn't do it. He just called straight for an inquisitorial lord of the Ordo Malius and the Black Templars.
What fart? That's
it's because Gandros was just a fucking nerd.
You didn't even follow it, you twat!
God, what a shit.
What would be the most heretical thing you've heard about in 40k?
Oh god.
Should we just say the Demon Collab and be done with it?
The what?
The Demon Collab, those giant mutated women that Honsu made shove babies in.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh right, okay, right.
Yes.
Done.
That wins.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. That wins. Holy fuck. Oh.
Okay. Since in the lore Primaris Marines are bigger, better, stronger versions of regular Space Marines, and theoretically all new recruits will be Primaris Marines, what do you see happening to limit their production? P.S. Alexis is a fox. She'll be happy to hear that, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I like random compliments on the end of questions.
They're
nice.
good.
Not sure.
Not sure, okay. Thoughts on the crystal statue of Sanguinius sapping its way around the vengeful spirit? I haven't read Black League yet, so I can't comment.
It's literally just Sanguinius encased himself in a crystal sarcophagus because the Negaverse attacked Neo Crystal Tokyo, and he's sulking in his coffin, and he's going to send his little pink-haired daughter back in time.
And then everything changed when the salamanders attacked.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's going to happen. I'm putting money on it.
Okay,
yeah. My uncle works for Games Workshop.
Which Chaos God gives the best hugs?
Malal. Well, it'd probably be Nurgle, but then you'd come away with the bubonic plague.
I think he'd give the best hugs, but you'd have to make sure to wear like a sou'wester or something. When
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't want to hug Slash.
Well, Slash you have to wear a condom for.
Like one of those full body condoms.
The problem with a hug from Slanesh is you don't know what's poking you.
I think if you hugged Khorne, he'd either cry or just freak out and like break you over his knee and then go, "Sorry, I panicked." So, whereas Zinch, she'd probably just be like, "Haha, I knew you'd do that." And you're like, "Shut up."
I always interpret Zinch as maybe giving you a bit of a hopper hand.
He'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah, he wouldn't be too comfortable with it.
Okay. If squads were ever reintroduced to 40k as a playable faction, how do you think they would function? I imagine a cross between Imperial Guard and Space Marines.
Yeah, well, wasn't one of the reasons they got removed was just because mechanically they couldn't really find a place for them to fit.
They just couldn't find a way to have them in the lore.
Poor squad.
I dressed up as Caldor Drago and delivered ham to my friend. Does that make me a member of the Ordo Drago? Yes, it does.
And how?
Is the Omnissiah the Eldar god Vol?
Unlikely.
Since Vol is the god of smiths and an Eldar artifact says that the Void Dragon is sealed within the Vol moon. It's an interesting concept, but unlikely. Interesting. It's interesting. I'll give it that.
I've heard stupider ideas.
Yeah. Like Horus is on the golden throne. It's like, no, he's not. The Emperor's Khorne. No, he's not.
The Emperor is Sigmar.
No, he's not.
Sorry, I just had to go there.
I've heard a lot more people talk about how Sigmar is one of the missing Primarchs.
That used to be a plausible theory. Then Games Workshop released novels say, here we have Sigmar being born. It's like, oh.
Yeah, there's quite a detailed timeline on Sigmar now. Actually, I've got the Stormcast battle tomes.
Because he met a magical space dragon in the sky.
Literally.
What a lucky boy.
Puff the magic star drake. He made Sigmar a god.
It's not as catchy, is it?
But it's true. Okay. This is referring to demons and demon princes. Once you quote-unquote kill them, what happens to their bodies? Do they just vanish and return to the warp, like the individual soul, or does only the demon soul return to the warp and their body stays in the material universe like a corpse? They fade away into the material universe, into the material.
Okay. Well, when a mortal becomes a demon, their soul is sent to the Chaos God, and it's replaced with a giant pile of warp stuff, for want of a better word. Am I still on the right lines here?
Essentially.
And at that point, their body becomes fully demonic as well. As a result, when their physical form is killed, dead, that warp stuff will just return and be absorbed into the Chaos God and used to make more stuff, surely.
Basically what happens with any demon, right?
Essentially. Okay, and this will be the last question, just considering the time. How big is Ghazghkull Thraken now? Is he literally bigger than the Emperor? Yes,
he's a big, pretty boy.
He's about the size of a dreadnought, isn't he?
Something like that.
He's a big, big boy.
He's been eating his spinach.
Yes. He's been eating his veggies.
Been working out.
Saying his prayers, drinking his milk, and taking his vitamins.
Drinking his 4 pints of fungal beer a day.
What you gonna do when Ghazghkull runs wild over you?
Deary me.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
Stop.
Continue.
Fuck you.
I think Ghazghkull would give good hugs.
I don't think he would.
I think he would if you didn't know you were hugging him, and then you could run away.
I just got this image now, like he's like shouting like a chanted yak, and Yak just hugs her, and Ghazghkull just breaks down and cries like, "I just wanted my fungal dad to love me."
It's like all I've needed was a hug.
I never knew me dad. It's like, well, yeah, because he was like a hole in the ground. I know.
For God's sake.
Whoa.
Oh, you bastard.
I say whoa, but I mean whoa.
Please
My
someone
mighty
draw that
heart
picture
is
now.
broken.
Yarrick hugging Gascon crying because of it.
Oh, I
And
feel
now-
bad for Gascon now.
And that'll be the last of the questions for this edition. If you had a question that we didn't get to, please leave it in the comments section of this video and we'll try and get to it next episode.
Yeah, we shall do so. Next episode, by the way, you might actually want to hold off because I'm not sure if we're going to quite wrap up right now, but next episode is going to be a bit of a cluster flip if we do it right.
I'm listening.
Yes.
So, as you may have worked out by the fact this is episode 26, and we do this every 2 weeks, it is now 1 year, close enough, of Adeptus Podcastus.
Oh, congratulations, guys.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, which means that we start a new year in 2 weeks' time with episode 27, which is on Alexis's channel. Now, if she's here, and she's not doing whatever she's doing. Now, the plan, it's a plan, it's probably a stupid plan, but it's a plan, is to do it live. So instead of watching this on Wednesday morning, UK time, as you would normally do, or whenever you wake up in America or halfway through your day in Australia, we're going to be doing it at our normal recording time, which will be on the Friday evening, UK time.
At 6 o'clock GMT.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds like it could be terrifying for you guys.
Now, what makes it more terrifying is the fact that we're going to have it as the nearest thing to an open lobby as we can do. We're not...
Old guests.
Yeah, so we're going to take the Skype call with all the guests that we've ever had, and we're just going to hit the button and say, if you want in, just turn up.
That sounds very interesting.
So we're going to expect Fresh and Carl to come in screaming about potatoes or something.
It's going to be ludicrous.
It's going to be terrifying.
Is this going
It's
to be
gonna be
uploaded
amazing.
anywhere?
Oh, it's going on Alexis' channel afterwards. The VOD will just go on her channel.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds like you guys have got a lot of fun.
Oh, yes.
Or maybe we'll show up and say hello at some point.
If
Yeah,
we
we
can
don't
get
need-
through the screaming.
Yeah, you won't need to come for the whole thing. Just if everyone shows their face, then that would be awesome, and we'll see if we can pull some strings and get some people who are new as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
definitely.
cool. Hey,
Just come in and scream about Robert Patrick's balls and just hang up again.
And we're back.
I can't help it.
I'm sure
It's
a bunch of people are already sitting and why do you keep going about Rob Patrick's balls? It's Snipe and Wib's fault from when they invited me onto their podcast.
well, technically, this goes up on Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, our podcast will go up on the Monday, so the context will exist on the internet. Not that anyone who's listening to this will have listened to it, but the context will exist.
Well, Snipe and Wib's channel is in the description if you want to try and understand where all this balls is coming from.
If you dare.
We also describe how shit Netflix Death Note is as well, if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard
It is-
such bad things.
It's
I've heard
shit.
such bad things.
Oh, it's bad. It's very bad.
Yes.
I mean, Willem Dafoe as Ryuka's fun, but that's literally the only okay thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have anything to do with Robert Patrick in it.
No, that was when your adventures to see Terminator 2 at the cinema.
Yes.
And you were upset because they digitally removed Robert Patrick's balls.
They didn't digitally remove them. They digitally they superimposed like a bit of debris in front of him so you couldn't see them poking out. It's quite distressing, really. I wanted to get up and leave, but I didn't. I was forced to
Balls
sit
were the
there.
best actor of the film.
It was so good.
They had top billing on the original run.
They did.
Yeah.
Even above Arnie.
Yeah. It's really weird, actually, when you think about it.
What the
That's a
hell?
point. Legitimate question. How come in Jurassic Park, B.D. Wong had higher billing than Samuel L. Jackson in the credits? Who the fuck was B.D. Wong? No one ever heard of him. Everyone knew Samuel L. Jackson. You got B.D.
Yeah.
Wong taking top billing? Everyone's like, you what, mate? You had like one fucking line. It's like, it's
I guess at the
Velociraptor.
time, Sam Jackson wasn't quite as big a deal.
He's always been a big deal.
He already done
Like
Pulp
stuff.
Fiction at that point, I'm pretty sure.
Possibly. I don't know. Hollywood's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
That's why. Why haven't they done a full-blown 40k movie yet? Because it'll probably end up starring like Marlon Wayans or something.
If you,
I reckon that half the reason there's not been a Netflix or film for 40k is just because like GW just realised that what happened with Ultramarines can't dare happen again. They're just like being super careful.
If you want a 40k movie, just go and watch the extended cut of the Dune movie. And just squint your eyes a bit. Like the entire intro section of that, you could just pretty much, because it has like this whole voiceover section describing the history of that world. And since most of that history was straight up stolen by Games Workshop, like, it mostly works. You just swap out the, the navigators are basically in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an emperor on a golden throne.
Yeah.
It's not a million miles away.
Yeah, this is true. Still not quite the same.
I mean, it's not a good movie, but
it's an entertaining.
It's interesting.
It is, yes.
And on that note, since we've just done Death Note, has anyone got any rants to do for this week before we quickly wrap up?
Yeah, Netflix Death Note shit.
Oh god, it was so shit.
It was dreadful.
It was the worst 40k movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't really...
I think it was that. I think it would be a movie that's more interesting, that you'd probably like a lot better if you didn't know anything about Death Note.
You'd probably like it better if you'd never seen a movie before, and you thought little people were trapped in this television.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that doesn't count. I'd like to rant about... See, I'm not going to say what everyone thinks I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's good.
Robert Patrick's
But
balls.
I'm not going to rant about that, because I think I've ranted enough.
Yeah, just a bit.
Now I don't know what else to rant about.
I don't really have one either. I probably just ranted myself out last time out. I suppose that no, I've said my piece about Amazon. So,
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I suppose sadness at having to leave all my hobby at home in the chest of drawers is kind of that's a sadness. But then again, I might take my paints with me anyway, just say screw it, and just buy models out there and then have them shipped home because,
Well, I mean, I guess you could get like a few, just buy like a couple and then just spend like all of your time painting them up to like the best possible quality, because then shipping back like 10's not a big deal.
Yeah, because I'm planning to start a new Age of Sigmar army, and a lot of the infantry is quite blocky. So I might just like get a bit of infantry and then get the colour scheme sorted, and then in second semester get my hero, or take out Blight War with me, because I'll get Blight War over Christmas and then take that out with me once I've got the colour scheme now done, because it's a really simple colour scheme. It's like black and purple. It's super easy. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that, and that'll probably be a hobby project that I'll do on the channel if I buy enough stuff.
Fair enough.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And on that note, if there is nothing else to add.
Nope.
I'm ranted out. I'm all good.
I'm fine.
In which case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this episode of Adeptus Podcastus. We do hope you've enjoyed it and all of the nonsense that came along with it. As we said, next time is going to be live. So, on the 15th of September at 6 p.m. UK time, it is BST, I think, still not GMT. Clear your diaries and tune in to Ego Queen Alexis' channel for possibly the stupidest live stream you've ever seen as podcast. Hope you can join us for that. And in the meantime, thank you all for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis.
This is Remleiz from 40k Theories.
I'm Snipe and he's Wib from Snipe and Wib.
Yes.
And we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much. And
Bye.
goodbye.
Right.
Bye.